Would you agree that modeling successful people to become successful is a good strategy?
Yes.
So, yes, there you go. You're right. So if Bill Gates would teach you business, that would be phenomenal. And if Michael Jordan would show you how to throw a basketball, that would be great. Or if my friend Peyton Manning would show you how to throw a football, that would be great. Well, Bill, Michael, and Peyton couldn't make it. But I'm here, and I'm considered the best in the world at what I do. And I had youngsters as young as 11 in college getting A's in as little as a week. And the same skill that I teach to the youngsters, business people use to stay on top of data, and seniors use to stay mentally fit. We were kind of talking about that at the table. As you get older, they found reading was the best way to keep your brain young. So let's get ready for a life-changing experience. Would you like to learn faster?
Yes.
Say yes. Would you like to be more productive? Yes. Say yes. And would you like to have more time for the things you love? Say yes. Well, that's what we're going to learn to do today, because I'm going to teach you 5 skills. I'm going to get you to read 10 to 20% faster. I'm going to show you how to understand what you read, how to remember what you read. We'll do a little math magic and some emotional intelligence skills. So by the time I'm done, you'll have 5 solid skills that you can take with you. We'll have fun doing it, and you may want to take notes. A lot of you are grandparents, have nieces, nephews, or some of you are younger, you might have kids like this. And what I teach is very helpful for them. Right now there's a 50% dropout rate in 4-year college and 70% in 2-year college. And the ones who don't drop out take 6 years to do 4-year degrees on average. So big problem. And that's the smart people who get to college, not the ones who dropped out of high school. Time will fly, we'll make it fast. One of my kids, Micah, it looks like a little boy, just passed the bar at 19 in California. Was that a fluke? His brother's 22 and he's an attorney and a flight instructor. His 15-year-old sister's in her first year of law school, will be the youngest person in history to pass the bar in California. And the second youngest would be his other brother, who's 17, and his first year of law school. It was all the Micah Stanley family. I was very proud of what they were able to accomplish, because I unlocked the secret to super fast learning, because I also struggled with books and magazines and mail and email like everyone else. Well, you may have noticed I don't have a native Texas accent. And no one said, what part of Texas did you grow up in? Well, I grew up in South Brooklyn in the projects, and it was a bad, you probably read Linden houses, really bad. I mean, really bad. We moved when they raped an 88-year-old man. So when I say it was bad, it was bad. I've had knives to my throat. I was beaten with baseball bats. My dad was pistol whipped. It's a really scary place to grow up. Well, I found one safe place, the library. The gang kids treat the libraries like vampires treat churches. They would not be caught dead in a library. I read a lot. I was reading the Theory of Relativity when I was 8. And when I was 11, I had college reading. I went to college at 17 to major in biology at the State University of New York, Binghamton, which is still in the top 10 public colleges in the country. In my junior year, I got interested in the brain and how it works. And I said to the dean, I want to have 2 majors, psych and bio. He said, you can't, you're a junior. You haven't had any courses in psychology. You'll have to do the 4-year program in 1 year and take 6 courses at the same time in science with 2 labs. And frankly, you're not smart enough. So it's basically 18 credits of science a term. I also had 3 part-time jobs, which made it a little more challenging. And I decided I could do it because they don't teach learning in school. They tell you what to learn and why to learn and what will happen when you don't learn. But they don't tell you why you hear a song once on the radio and you sing it your entire life effortlessly. And then you read a book like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and the next day you don't know what any of the habits are, and you're lucky if your name, remember the author and the name of the book. So there had to be a way to learn things that matter the way we were learning songs, and there was. I got up to 80 pages a minute. I did a 4-year psych program in a year, and I took the GRE in biology, and I reviewed 48 books in 3 nights, like biochemistry, cell physiology, genetics, plant systematics. It was 300 questions I got 3 wrong, and I was in the 99th percentile in the world for biologists for that year. And that's exciting, but more exciting is I found I could teach it. And I owned a school, and we had a group of kids, 11 to 15, do a 30-chapter book in lifelong developmental psychology, which is a sophomore college course. And in 1 week, they finished the book, took the clap, and 15 out of 18 passed the course with the college credit in a week. So that to me is more important. Guinness was nice, it gets people's attention, but doing the kind of things like I did with the Micah family, the Stanley family, it shows that you can change people's lives, much more important than showing you could do something nobody else can do, because it doesn't help anyone or make a difference. The program made $65 million with Nightingale Conant. I didn't get the $65 million, or I'd be in Fiji now on my private island on Skype, but it was nice getting it. We tested it. We did a double-blind study using the Nelson-Denny, which is a standardized test, and everyone in the study, 100 people, doubled or quadrupled in 4 hours with no loss of comprehension. I was very excited by that. I've been on over 1,100 shows. I helped launch Comedy Central in the mid-'80s with Dennis Leary. I was on his first show. He was their first star. I was on 7 out of 14 shows. Kind of fun. We were at the Jackie Gleason studio where they filmed The Honeymooners, and they had all the motifs on the wall. It was really exciting, and his friend Richard Belzer hung out with us. I got to know Richard Belzer and Dennis really well, and then Jon Stewart had me on as his first guest on television. So I helped launch Comedy Central, and I've been on over 9 times. There's a reason most biologists don't get to do comedy, and would you like to see why? Mushroom walks in a bar. Bartender says, "Get out, we don't serve your kind." Mushroom says, "Why not? I'm a fun guy." And that's why most biologists don't do comedy. Okay? You may have seen me with Justin Timberlake and Peyton and Amy Sedaris as the Sony spokesperson. And this is me reading the healthcare bill on Cavuto. It was this many pages, that was the end. And I read it in 50 minutes and did an analysis. And it was good enough that Nancy Pelosi called the studio to complain because I found things they hid in the bill that weren't supposed to be found. It was 15 minutes after the bill was printed, so they thought they had a little more time than that. But that was another story. I told my wife, I said, if there's guys with black sunglasses and helicopters flying over the house, let me know, I'm not coming home. So, while viewing this, think about it could help you and your family succeed. We'll start with the first problem, information overload. More is printed in a week than all the human history through the year 1800. That's a fact. And every 6 months it doubles. The average person reads about 200 words a minute. The range of normal is 150 to 400 words a minute, but most people are near 200. Not anywhere near enough to stay on top of information. And all that's now accessible online, so we literally drown in data between the laws, the rules, the business skills you need to know, the core skill you need to know in your own industry. It takes a lot of time that you don't get compensated for. But without that information, you can't perform your product or service. So let me show you how to read faster. And there's that number for the free gift. If you would like, I don't think this thing's bouncing off. So if you text 214-462-3355, this will be up for a moment because I'm going to teach you a skill. And just put in the word Rotary, you'll get the gift. Now, when you go home, get a book you've read, nonfiction, one you understand. You want to make sure the only thing that might confuse you is their speed, not the book. And read for a minute with a timer. And when the minute's up, mark off how far you went. So now you know how far you read in a minute, the way you normally read. We have an assessment. Go to the second chapter and use your hand and go from the left to the right margin, eyes following your hand, and the secret is as fast as you could comprehend. And keep speeding up till you don't comprehend. So you actually say, now it's too fast. That's the point where you went too fast. Slow down just enough that your comprehension comes back, going all the way across and not down the middle for 5 minutes. And when you've done that, go back to the first chapter where you initially tested your speed. And do it a second time with your hand. And you'll see you go 10 to 20% further than you did the first time. Just doing that one change. And please share this with people you care about, especially the youngsters that you know. And they're struggling and they really need this. So make sure that they know about it. This is one of my oldest students, Ruth. Ruth Lubin was the little old lady from Pasadena. She lived in Pasadena, and she was a belly dance instructor at 84 on cruise ships. Coolest lady. Her hobby was downhill skiing and rollerblading with her 88-year-old boyfriend. She was just the coolest lady you could ever want to know. She took my course and called me up and said she read 3 books in 3 hours the day after I taught her, which blew my mind. I didn't know if she'd even learn it. So yeah, my oldest student ended up being 92, and they doubled. And she said, I don't know how much time I have left, but there's so much more I want to learn. And so it really made me, my wife went with me the next time I went to California, and we took her to the comedy club on Hyatt so we could spend some time with her. And it was really nice. Now, Martin Lawrence, unfortunately, was the headliner, and she was in a different generation, so every other word out of his mouth, she was like, oh my God. She wasn't prepared for that, but it was fun. Then she fell asleep, so it was okay. Yeah, by 10 o'clock, she was out. And the latest studies show that the best way to stay fit and keep your memory as you get older is to read every day. There's 2 studies, the Baltimore and Seattle longitudinal studies on aging, which I read 20 years ago in 90 seconds on a TV show. So I do remember them, and they said that people in their 80s that were readers had a much better memory and much less of a problem with Alzheimer's and dementia. It kept the healthy part of the brain healthy longer. So good thing to know, because when we're talking about some of those things, you'll find that as a help. And you'd be good for my TV show, by the way, because I know what you do, and that would be a good subject to have on. That's why I talk to people. I try to get to know what people do and understand them. Would you agree that comprehension is very much more important than speed? In fact, speed reading didn't work. I remember 25 years ago, I was with Dick Cavett, and Dick said he had interviewed Woody Allen. I was told I sound like him. A little side story. I was on a radio show, and they said, you know, you sound just like Woody Allen. So I said, okay. Sun Yi, please be patient. Daddy will be home soon. And the guy looked at me and said, hey, I'm not the bad one here. So anyway, Woody Allen told him he took Evelyn Woods, he read War and Peace in 5 minutes, which is quite an achievement. It's like this many pages. He said, that's amazing. What do you remember? He said, it's about the Russian Revolution. That's all I remember. And that was really what happened when people would speed read. They didn't learn anything. They got the big picture. Yeah, it's about genetics. Okay, this is a chemistry book. And that was about what you took away. And if you slow down to learn a word or a name or a number, or you lost your speed. You went right back where you were. So people really, really hated it. Well, I fixed it. The guy who owned Evelyn Woods in the 60s paid me $5,000 to train his son to speed read. And I'm going to show you for free the secret to comprehending at high speed. And it's called schema. Schema is your map. It's what you know already. So if you're reading The Man Drank a Glass of Water, you'll go, wait, what's a man? What's a glass? What's water? Because you know what those words are, you can read them. If I said, look at the Agileus Phoenicius, which is a word, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's not in your schema. It's confusing. Here's a passage that has no schema. Watch how hard it is to understand. On the next slide, I have a one-word title that has schema, and it makes the total difference between understanding and not. Watch. This is an easy thing to do. You could always do this at home, but could go somewhere else if it's necessary. Beware of overdoing it. This is a major mistake and could cost you quite a bit of money. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You don't know what it's about. But now you do. Laundry. This is an easy thing to do. Could always do this at home, but can go somewhere else if it's necessary. And there's no confusion. So what I'm teaching people is not just to go quicker, but use the psychology of reading. You know where the schema is and how to find it 2, 3, 4 times faster. You don't just read quicker, you actually understand better at the higher speed than at the lower speed. So you can read biochemistry and genetics and calculus and actually learn something, a business book, which was not possible in the past. fact, can I do a little enrichment, something a little
Sure,
beyond?
absolutely.
There's only 5 things you need to learn. If you learn these 5 things, you'll be equivalent of an A in a school situation. You need to learn the words, the vocabulary, names, any number, date, statistical formula, the 5 main ideas in every section, and the answers to questions. If you know every word, every name, every number, the 5 big takeaways in every section and subsection, and answers to every other question, what else would you need to know?
Context?
That's it. Oh, that comes with the schema.
Okay.
So, and then I have a memory system for speed learning, like you said, learning Spanish. It's very effective for that. So I just thought I'd go off a little on that. I thought it would help. Now, in your businesses, what are you doing when you communicate with people to make sure you're on their map? Remember, you have specialized vocabulary they don't have. So a word like a Julius Venetius means a lot to a biologist, but not to anybody else. And if you're using words like that make sense to you, but not to your client, like doctors when they tell you you got laryngitis, like what's that? They're using big words that don't register in your map, and you think you're gonna die, and it's a scrape. It's no big deal. And so you want to make sure when we communicate with other people, it's on their map and not just on your own. And you could use this to cut your learning time in half and find the ideal solution. You can stay on top of business skills, which are very important in business, as you know. It's not just the business. The real business is marketing. I don't care what business you're in. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business.
Right.
And so you always have to think that you're in the speed reading business, you're in the art business, or you have no business. It's a hobby. And even a hobby has overhead. And you want to have more time, be more productive and profitable. I've read about 30,000 books. I like to think if I was a total idiot, I'd be well informed. And everything you do is based on only one thing, what you know. Every decision you make, every problem you solve is based connecting dots about something you know and need to do something with. And the more dots you have, the more solutions you can find. So if this doesn't work, well, there's another thing I could do. I don't remember, I saw someone else did this. And you find the one that will work, where everyone else is like, what do I do now? I've run out of dots. There's nothing left I can do. And that's a problem a lot of people have today. I watch the news and it breaks my heart when I read about coal miners. Being a coal miner in West Virginia is like selling 8-track tapes. There's a reason you don't make a good living selling 8-track tapes. Nobody uses them. The reason they're out of business, by the way, is because in the West, they have coal where one person could do the work of 30 coal miners because they strip mine. And so they could have one person doing 30 people work or 30 people getting paid to do the work. It's not rocket science. Your job's over. And the only thing you can do now is learn a new skill or feel bad about the fact the job is over. If you make records or 8-tracks, you're in a troubled industry right now. But there's still opportunities. But you have to be able to learn things fast. Instead of complaining about what isn't happening, you look at where the opportunities are and you go where the light is. It's like the old moron, and he's searching for his wallet under the street light, and someone stops and helps him, and after an hour they can't find it. He says, where'd you drop it? He says, down the street. He says, why are you looking here? He says, the light's better. And that's what people are doing. They're looking in the wrong place. The solution is there, but they're looking where it's convenient and easy instead of doing what they need. Learn something new, and you'll get back on your feet. You can't do what doesn't work anymore. And what we did 10 years ago doesn't work today. And I'll guarantee you what's working today won't work in 10 years from now. Only people who are going to stay successful are people who learn and stay on top of what's going on. The rest of them are like, what's a cell phone? You see that a lot. How does this work? And that's a problem. They're out of touch with society. Philip Kotler said that marketing is based on information. The only thing you have that your competitor can't knock off is what's in your head and the people who work for you. They can knock off your systems. They can knock off your products. They can't be you. They can't know what you know. Microsoft is valuable because of who works there. Anyone can write software, but they got some really smart people writing software, and they pay them so they won't go somewhere else. And that's why they make money. And that's the way it works today in business. It's all about what you know. Now, this is the most important skill of all, and it's called emotional intelligence. Imagine I teach you how to drive, and people take driving lessons all the time, and you learned, and you're ready for your road test, and you failed. Not because you can't drive, because it was a test and you got nervous. How many of you have had that experience where you knew what you needed to know, but it was a test that made you nervous, or your kids got nervous? What if there was a way to change a state, to get in a state you needed to be to succeed at whatever it is you wanted to do? And there is a way, and I'm going to teach it to you. But because you're moving a lot, watch your knees. You need to stand up. Watch your knees near the table. If you stand up for this one drill, I'm going to show you how to get energy. So if you're working late at night, you can't drink coffee, you want to go to bed after, you can wake up. You go to class after a day of work, you can wake up. If you're driving in traffic and you find yourself getting tired, you can wake up. Now, the left side of the brain controls what part of your body? Right side. And the right controls? Left side. So if you take your left hand, touch your right shoulder, right hand, touch your left, alternating. It's not just the Macarena without music. It's a brain massage. And if you do this to your opposite knee, like a Charleston, just touching your opposite knee, you have to think about it. Both sides of your brain are doing something. Raise your right hand and squeeze your right thumb and say this like you mean it with conviction. I feel great.
I feel great.
Yes.
Yes.
You're going to do 3 sets of these. And that was the best one I've had in over a month. I'm going to some of these with, I feel great. Like, no.
That's the point.
You actually have to feel great. Right. For me to create a state, you have to be in the state. If you feel great, no, that isn't going to work. What you did was the right thing. So thank you. Finally, someone got it. No, we're not done. We're going to do this. Okay, but still feel great. Okay, we're going to do the shoulder taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel?
I feel great.
Yes. A little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel?
I feel great. Yes.
Go as fast as you can. Now watch your knees. Ready?
You might want to do that while you're driving, though.
No, you're right. Pull over. I'm going to talk about that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. Yourselves a big hand. Now you can sit down. Feel great.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when you do this 3 times? Nothing. Now, you probably would like something. So let me show you how that works. Remember Pavlov? He rang a bell, he fed a dog, rang a bell, fed a dog, rang a bell, fed a dog, rang a bell, and the dog drooled. You don't want to drool, but you do want to feel great. The latest studies show habits take 90 days, not 30 days to create. So you go slow, medium, fast every day, 90 days, and now you're in a meeting, or driving. You don't want to do this at a business meeting. You're going to look a little strange, or at an exam. But you can grab your thumb and say, I feel great, yes. And your brain remembers the way you felt every time you did that, which is more awake and more alert. It wakes you up. In the same way you can create relaxation, creativity for art. You can create focus, concentration. Whatever state it is you need, you can do something to create the state, anchor it, and trigger it when you need it. So we can create emotional states that will help us be successful. And the question is, are you doing that? What states do you need in your business to be successful? And what states get in the way? And what are you doing to get rid of the bad states and create the good states? Very, very important. Most people didn't even think they could do it, but you can. Police do it. The firemen do it. The military, they practice under very dangerous and very difficult conditions so that they're in a terrified state, the state they'll be in when someone's shooting at them or the building is burning. If they did it in a relaxed state, they wouldn't remember when they needed to use the information, because the state you're in when you're learning is the state you need to be in when you're outputting the data. If you have a state change, which is what anxiety does in a test, you forget everything. You can't remember anything because your state is different. And that's what's triggering the problem, and you could change that. And you could use this to increase your productivity, focus under stress, and learn good people skills are part of emotional intelligence. So you get better deals when you can communicate. People understand what you're telling them. They like what you're saying. You can create rapport instead of friction, and then you have a much better business relationship. Math, this is something most people dread. 38% of high school seniors can't count, and I'm talking decimals and percentages. They're doing algebra and calculus at 7th grade in Europe, and our 12th graders can't do fractions and decimals. I worked in a school for 10 years in the inner city in Brooklyn when I graduated college, and 2% graduated. And I remember my job interview was, teachers get killed here, do you want the job? And they did. 4 teachers in 10 years were on stretchers. One was in a coma. The kids knocked him unconscious with furniture. And that was a tough job. And they caught me helping kids learn. And they said I wasn't being paid to do that. It was not my job. It was a bio class, and they told me they couldn't do the homework because they didn't know where the answers were. So in the bio class, in the bio book that they used in bio class, I was showing them how to do the homework because they asked me. And the principal said, "What are you doing?" And I told them I'm showing them how to do the homework in their book. They're having a problem. We don't pay you to do that. You're supposed to be teaching curriculum, and you're not working. And he wrote on my page that he came in my room and I wasn't doing anything because I was teaching learning, which is a waste of their time. So I quit. That's when I decided to quit. I stopped being a teacher and became an educator. I wasn't going to spend my life making kids dumber. So let me show you some math magic. Here's a problem, 103 times 107. How much bigger than 100 is 103? 3. How much bigger than 100? 107. Write it down next to the numbers. Multiply the two differences. 3 times 7 is? How hard was that? Easy. That's the hard part. Now the easy part. Add diagonally. 103 plus 7 is 100 and... Right. And 107 plus 3 is 100 and... Is it the same? Always. So whichever way you add, that's easier. Do it. It's the same answer. Write down 110 and 21. 103 times 107 is 11,021. How hard was that? That's speed math. And it's not hard to learn. Why would you want to learn it? Well, imagine you're in a business like real estate or financial planning, and there are numbers. They're really important. And you crunch them that quickly in your head. What are the chances they want to work with you? If you watch the news, does anyone feel we have too many smart people making too many good decisions right now in the world? Okay, if you actually find someone who can think and understand, do you feel like that's someone you want to keep? It's an instant rapport builder. This is someone who's intelligent, someone who understands my problems. I don't want to lose this person. This person is someone I need, and that's why you do it. It also makes it easy for you to check numbers, and also, I think it's fun. It's like a math trick. You can do some cool stuff. Now, I have a handout. I got one more skill. Can I just go past you for a second? Sure. Thank you. Sorry. And, you can figure this out. I'll teach the last skill while he's doing that, which is memory. Memory. I always remember that one. People often ask me, do I remember what I read? The answer is yes, I remember a lot. And I'm not only going to tell you what I do, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to give you 10 things to remember and not show you how. And then I'll show you how, and you'll remember all of them backwards and forwards with no effort. And initially it's like, there's no way that's going to happen. Here are the 10 things I want you to remember. Pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. Is it safe to say you don't remember all the things on the list right now? In 3 minutes, you'll know everything, effortlessly. So I'm going to give you an exercise, and it's not just an exercise, it's a tool. So practice this with me, because it's not just an exercise, it's something you can use at work and your youngsters can use for school. I started teaching this to my grandkids when they were 3. and they learned it in 3 minutes, just like you're going to. The Greeks discovered thousands of years ago a shortcut for memory. They found if you take something you know already and relate it to something you want to know, it locks it in much quicker. How many of you can count to 10? I want to see every hand up. Good. We're going to use the numbers from 1 to 10 and learn 10 things super fast. Starting with the number 1. It looks like a pole. Like this is a pole. It looks like a number 1. When I say 1, you say pole. Ready? 1. Pole. Excellent. 2. How many shoes you wearing? 2. What's 2? Shoes. What's 1? Pole. Perfect. 3 is a tricycle. How many wheels are on a tricycle? 3. What's 3? Tricycle. What's 2? Shoes. What's 1? Pole. Excellent. 4 is a car. How many tires are on a car? 4. What's 4? Car. 2. Shoes. 1. Pole. 3. We're jumping on purpose. We're not memorizing. We're associating. Different kind of learning skill. 5 is a glove. How many fingers are in a glove? 5. What's 5? What's 3? What's 1? Pole. Perfect. 6 gun. They love them in Texas. 6 gun. What's 6? 4. Car. 2. Shoes. Perfect. 7 is lucky in dice, right? So 7 is dice. What was 5? Clue. Glove. 3. 1. Pole. Excellent. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate. 8. What's 8? Skate. What do they love in Texas? 6. 4. 2. You're almost done. You're getting smarter. How many lives does a cat have? 9. What's 9? 7 is lucky in 5. 3. 1. Last number. How many bowling pins are in an alley? 10 is perfect. Let's do all 10 numbers together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rhymes with 9. And what's 10? And how does it make you feel? Great! And when you feel great, do that. Fast story. I was on the longest running show in history with one person, the Joe Franklin Show. 48 years, one person. There's been longer running shows, but not one person. And I was on the last 3 weeks. And I said, Joe, what's your secret? How did you manage to get on so many years, longer than anyone in history? He smiled and he said, sincerity. And when you can fake that, you can do anything. And I want you to know, nobody fakes sincerity for 48 years. It's impossible. There's no way you can be on every week, every day of every week for 48 years and fake it. People know when you care and when you care about yourself. So in business, sincerity is important. Always focus on them and their problem, and then they'll become a client and you'll make a good living, but you'll make it because you're solving their problems and not because you're just there for the sale. That's called pegging. And I'll show you how to use this now to learn numbers super fast for school and business. Let's say I want to measure the circle. I would need to use pi, 3.14. And nobody remembers it because it's a weird number. So we're going to make it into a picture. 3 is a tricycle, 1 is a pole, and 4 is a car. Make a movie. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Picture that. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number? 3. Hits a pole on a car. 4. Now you know how to learn numbers. And you could use this for percentages, due dates. You could use this for any product SKU number you need to remember. You make and the 0 is the 10 bowling pins. So now you have all the digits you need. You just string them together in a movie. When you play your movie back, you recall the number. And it's much easier to have the images to come back than 3.14, which is more confusing. So that's a very easy way. Now kids use it, learn science, math, history, anywhere there's numbers, they can use this to remember dates and important numbers. What are you doing in your business to make the things you tell people easy to remember? How many times has someone told you something you needed to do when you got home you didn't remember? And you didn't do it right, and you got angry? Well, that's what's happening when you tell people what they need to do. They don't remember. It isn't enough to tell people what they need to do. You also need to tell them how to remember what you told them, so they can use what you told them when they need to do it. How much more rapport would that create? And repeat business and referrals. And we don't. It's not in any business books, but it's an easy problem to fix. And you could use this to learn names, facts, numbers, even foreign languages. I have a whole set of tools just for that. You were asking about that. Now, I do have a program. I'm going to show you what I have, and I hope some of you will consider getting it, have it with me. It's a learning system called Read, Write, Memory, and Math. The reading program, we guarantee you'll go 100% faster in 4 hours. And I'm giving you 2 sets. I have DVDs with me, but I also give you online. So if you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, they don't live with you, they can go online and use it. So, and I want that. One of the reasons I joined Rotary was to help with education. It's one of the 4 pillars. So if I could help, that's what I do. So my goal is to get it in as many hands as I can and make it as painless as possible to reach as many people and be able to make a living while I do that. I also will give you my cell phone. And if you text me, if you need help, I'll help you. And if your kids need help, I'll help them. I get very few questions. But if they have one, I'd rather answer it for a lot of reasons. One, I want them to learn it. And 2, if they're having a problem, I want to know what confused them so I can fix it. And after 30 years, I don't get a lot of calls because I fixed it. And that's how you make something work. And then I have a writing program. It's on writer's block and how to eliminate it. So you can switch on your creative state and read people like a book. If you ever felt you're on AM and they are on FM, you write. And there's a way to know very quickly what their wavelength is. So when you're writing or talking to them, you're on their wavelength, not your wavelength, and you're building rapport, which creates more sales and creates more business and more referrals. And you get your writing done on time. I wrote a book in 5 hours, and it went #1 on Amazon the next day, and I'll talk about that in a minute.